you got enough sleep last week? Or do you recall the last time you woke up without an alarm, feeling completely rested and without needing caffeine? If you answer no to this question, you should watch this video to the end, because today we're gonna talk about sleep. Welcome to Become Odara. My name is Ana Clara Ottoni, and this is our series about self-awareness. Today we're talking about sleep and the quality of sleep that we might be getting or not getting. Now I know that if I tell you all the things that goes wrong when we don't get enough sleep,
about our productivity, how stressed we feel, our mood, or have you noticed that you gain weight, you're having some hard time losing weight?
all this is very common knowledge for everybody who is sleep deprived. What it happens though is that not all of us are really awake to understand the impact of that in our lives in a long term. And that's why I want to talk to you about this, because in my personal life, I only got to understand how sleep was important after I saw myself driving every day 104 miles, spending more than 4 to 5 hours in traffic. As you know, I live here in Long Beach. I was working at that time in Beverly Hills and going to school in Orange County. So you can imagine the traffic every single day. I was getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep, and I got involved in 2 car accidents because I slept while I was driving. Now, thanks to universe, nothing happened in terms of hurting someone. All the impact I had, all the damage was mostly in my car. But every day, at every hour in the United States, one person died as a result of a car accident caused due to somebody who was not rested and was feeling the fatigue effects of that sleep deprivation. I'm not telling you all these numbers and giving you all this impact to make you feel bad, because I know you're probably already feeling really restless of not sleeping. And a lot of people will tell me, Anna, just sleep, just sleep a little bit more. And it's not that simple when you cannot sleep. I will give you a few tips if you want to know what did I do to overcome that issue. And most of the things I've learned from this book, Thrive, from Arianna Huffington, who also had a breakdown and had to slow down to understand what she was doing. A lot of people tend to imagine that, well, yeah, but she is a very successful businesswoman and she had a breakdown, so now she has the time to rest and all that. I have a friend who is building his startup, and he usually say, Anna, I will sleep when I die. And in this other book here, Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, he's a PhD who studies sleeping patterns and the impact of sleep. He literally tries to answer the question, why we sleep, that's the name of the book. But he says, yes, if you believe in this concept that you will sleep when you die, you might die sooner, because the impact in the big picture of not sleeping can really hurt you. So Arianna Huffington, despite of all her wealth, she felt very miserable because of the lack of sleep, stress, and other things that was happening in her life. And I think we can all relate with that. To me, sleeping is part of quality of life. It has nothing to do with money, if you think about it. And that's one of the problems, because a lot of times we don't get enough sleep because we were working. We have tons of responsibilities in our daily lives that sleeping is one of the things that we can kind of squeeze in a short period of time. And then we don't realize when we make bad decisions at work, or when we are stressed with our partners, when we get into a fight for no reason, or when we're just feeling lonely. That's one of the reasons also that Matthew talks about in this book, like anxiety, depression, loneliness, heart disease. The lack of sleep can even cause imbalance in your sugar levels and take you to a level of a pre-diabetic. Money and happiness are not really associated. Why? And I'm not alone on this, because from 1958 to 1987 in Japan, the levels of happiness in a survey, they identified that was pretty much the same, even though they had a 500% increase in their income rates. So there you have it, thinking that like, oh, when I am rich, when I am wealthy, I will be able to sleep, I'll be able to rest. No, if we get enough sleep, we'll be more organized and be able to work more effectively and be more productive. A great example of that are the kings of naps. Leonardo da Vinci and Thomas Edison, they were known for taking tons of naps throughout the day. Now, I'm not telling you to go and take naps all the time. I'm telling you to really listen to your body. To me, it was a major thing. It still is to take some time to take a nap. Thanks to my best friend and my partner, I being a little bit more flexible to get into having, naps in the days that I'm feeling a little bit more tired, the days that I'm low in energy. And just recently, talking to my therapist, I comment that I haven't done my yoga in a week. And I comment also that I was sleeping really bad. Like I was waking up in the middle of the night, using the restroom, then coming back to bed, having a hard time to falling back to sleep. And she said, well, the days that you've been sleeping less are also the days that you did not do yoga. And I said, oh my God, yes. So here are some few things that you can do to help you to identify what might be causing your sleep deprivation. Let's go. Number one, very basic, and I'm sure a lot of people have told you this before, avoid screens. The problem is that we don't effectively incorporate this habit. So it can be 30 minutes before bed, and I recommend you to not even take your phone to bed. Get an alarm separately just to wake you up if you need to. But please avoid using screens, and that means tablet, phone, iPhone, whatever phone you have, TV, because the blue lights that those devices have, they affect the production of melatonin, which is the hormone responsible for our sleep, so keep us alert. So avoid screens will be my tip number one. Number two, set an alarm to go to bed. So that might be a little bit strange to you, but it would just help you to create the habit to go to sleep around the same time. See when your day usually finished, so you can go to bed around the same time, and that helps you because after all the industrialization of our world, our modern world, we tend to be following the times that we created instead of following the times of our bodies, and understanding that sometimes we need to really pay attention to our biological clock instead of just the clock that is guiding our modern life. So set an alarm to go to bed, and this way you create the habit of having a sleep routine. Going to bed every day every night at the same time would help you to sleep better. Number three, avoid sugar at night and during the day. Sugar you should avoid at all times, but especially at night, because you don't want to be alert. You want to be resting, so please avoid sugar at night. Number four, avoid having dinner and going to bed immediately after. And this is one of the beauties of knowing our bodies. So digestion is one of the main operations that our body has to work on during the day. So if we eat and immediately go to bed, our body will be concentrating in the digestion. It's pretty much like starting a Zoom call at 5% in your phone battery, because if your body is kind of like, oh, it's getting late, we're about to go to sleep, so we already low in energy, and then we eat food, and then our body kind of wake up and say oh man, now I'm gonna have to work on this. I thought we were we were done today, but apparently not. So we'll be working extra, thus you might have some trouble to actually fall asleep. Number 5, drinking tea. A relaxing tea can also be a digestive tea right after dinner or 30 minutes after dinner. That might help you also to get your body to slow down and relax so you can have a good night of sleep. Now, that might be a little bit controversial for our tip number 6. Avoid drinking liquids after 7, 8 p.m. I don't know, depending on the time that you have your dinner, because you want to avoid waking up in the middle of the night to use the restroom. You want to go and have a straight, full 8 or 7 hours of sleep, whatever fits in your routine, but make sure that you avoid those breaks that you have to wake up, because that also can interrupt your sleeping time, and that might also compromise this process of recharging your battery levels. Tip number 7, write down everything that you have to do in the next day, so you go to bed with the peace of mind that you have done everything that you could for that day, and the next day is when you can actually get to start again fresh, doing everything that you have to do. I say that as a mental note for myself, because oftentimes when I go to bed, I start thinking about doing a list in my head of everything that I have to do in the next day. But the days that I actually write everything in my planner, it's way easier, because I know exactly what I have to do in the next day, and I don't have to be worried about it, like in the middle of the night. So Tim Ferriss even shared this past week on 5 Bullet Friday a quote that I thought was really clever. It says, "Don't try to solve serious matters in the middle of the night." That's from Philip K. Dick. And it's really important to remind ourselves of those things, because oftentimes I get a message or an email from someone and I think that has to be responded right away. And nobody's gonna get hurt if you respond the next day within business hours. You shouldn't even be checking your email without business hours. Tip number 8, exercise. As I comment, my therapist comment about like, hey, days that you didn't do yoga, you didn't sleep well. Do you see the connection right there? And yes. So exercising helps you to use all the energy that you have in your body, and also give some time to your muscles to rest and just recover for the next day, and you feel stronger. My husband and I create this routine where we read a book together, and it's a very nice routine. Not only good for the couple, because we're sharing something, learning something, hearing to a story together, but also for you to get, that slow time, some quiet time, no phones, no TV, you don't need to watch a show. Grab a book and I'll guarantee you that you fall asleep right away. And that's actually what my nephew tells me. He says, oh, I like to read my books, because I often encourage him to read books. And he tells me that he likes to read at night because he falls asleep. And I'm like, well, in his case, it's more like him to try to be a smart ass in not reading the book. But for us adults, making the conscious decision of like, hey, I'm gonna read a book for like 30 minutes or read a chapter every night, whatever it is that fits in your routine, again, that will help you not only to get to read all the books that you're being postponed to read, but also helps with your memory. Because what Matthew says also in Why We Sleep book is that when you're sleeping, you actually you're just reinforce everything that you learned on that day. Have you ever had this experience? You start a new job, you're learning something new, and using Excel sheets all day, and then you go to sleep and you sleep about Excel sheets. Well, that's your brain just telling you, okay, we're learning these commands, we're learning all these things. So it's a good thing. It's a proof that it's working. Whatever you're learning during the day is actually being coded in your brain, so you actually learn whatever you're working on. And number 10, meditation. As clear as that can be, it might be a challenge for most people. So There are plenty of different apps out there that you can use to help you. Ariana, in this book, she also talks about a technique that her friend Cindy, an editor from Vogue, recommended her to count backwards from 300. So you start in 300 and go like backwards. She said that she never passed from 250 because she was way sleeping already. So that can be a technique. My friend Perla Dornelas, that you should check out on Instagram, she is a breathing coach, and she also can tell you like how much benefit you can get from breathing, and some breathing there are some specific breathing techniques that can help you to have a more relaxing time when going to sleep, and it can be meditative. So you can check her Instagram to learn everything about breathing, because I am not a coach. I'm learning everything from her about breathing. That was number 10, but I definitely have other tips that I could tell you to use. I very much recommend an eye cover. I use this one right here. And I also like to use these earplugs because sometimes my husband gets really loud when he sleeps, and I prefer to have like some quiet time. So this was another thing that I learned from my friend and coach Fernanda Mello, a nutritionist who also sleeps with this, and they saved my life or my nights and my sleep many times. So I really recommend you to get some earplugs like this, and help you to have some quiet at night as well. If you have somebody who might get loud, a neighbor, whatever it is, do that. Get some pajamas, like if you're sleeping in your gym clothes, that might also make your brain a little bit confused. And wait, are we going to sleep or are we going to work out? So get some pajamas. That will set the tone for your night. Last video we talk about showers. That's another tip. Take a shower in the dark, or take a warm shower to help you to be ready to sleep. So that was today's video. I hope you didn't fall asleep in this video, but you learned a little bit about creating a sleep routine. Please leave your comments in the box below. I will also leave all the books, the studies that I comment in this video in the description of this video. I'll ask you to please subscribe to this channel, and please give me the thumbs up, because when you do, you help YouTube to show this content to other people. So imagine all the night owls who are out there really looking for something to help them to go to sleep. So please give the thumbs up so you can get this content out there for them. Subscribe to the channel, share with a friend. Sharing is caring, so please share with a friend that suffers from sleep deprivation, and I hope to see you next week. Become Odara.